Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me, aren't you? The Graduate wasn't just a coming-of-age comedy drama. It was a cultural hand grenade that blew polite 1960s Hollywood wide open. Behind its cool folk soundtrack and razor-sharp satire, chaos simmered. Half-drowned actors, abandoned scripts, and a poster leg that didn't even belong to the leading lady. Today we're prying the lid off that polished surface to reveal 20 weird facts about The Graduate. Plus one mind-melting bonus secret the studio still wishes you'd never hear. Stay till the end, lean in, and get ready to whisper, "Plastics? Not even close." Roll sound, roll camera, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive. Fact 1. It wasn't handsome Robert Redford who landed Ben Braddock. It was a nervous, unknown stage actor named Dustin Hoffman who walked in wearing rumpled corduroy and apologizing for being the wrong guy. Director Mike Nichols tests Redford first but tells him, "You can't play failure. You've never struck out with a girl." Redford laughs, admits he's always been popular, and walks away. Hoffman, by contrast, reeks of insecurity. Nichols sees gold. Casting erupts into a studio firestorm. Execs threaten to pull funding, but Nichols refuses. He wants awkward, he wants real. He wants the kid who doesn't look like a matinee idol. Not a golden god, but a human question mark. The gamble shatters Hollywood's beauty standard and launches Hoffman into overnight stardom. Fact 2. What audiences didn't know was that the iconic leg on the film's poster doesn't belong to Anne Bancroft at all. During a brutal 12-hour photo call, Bancroft falls ill. A frantic producer calls in 26-year-old model Linda Gray as a stand-in. Gray slips into sheer stockings, strikes the pose, and history clicks. Years later, Gray becomes TV royalty as Sue Ellen on Dallas. She jokes, "I got my big break as a disembodied limb." Not Bancroft's leg, but Gray's. A secret art swap that turns a throwaway publicity shot into one of the most recognizable posters ever printed. Fact 3. The underwater pool nightmare isn't movie magic. It's Hoffman's real panic attack. Nichols insists on filming inside a cramped studio tank where recycled water clouds the goggles. Hoffman's scuba regulator jams, sending him clawing toward the surface. Crew hauls him out just before he blacks out. Instead of cutting the scene, Nichols keeps rolling, capturing genuine terror in Hoffman's eyes. It wasn't staged anxiety, it was near-drowning dread, raw, unfiltered, and forever frozen in those shimmering blue frames. Fact 4. Simon and Garfunkel's soundtrack seems tailor-made, but it starts as a placeholder. Nichols plays "The Sound of Silence" over dailies to set a mood. The melody syncs so perfectly that editors beg him to keep it. Columbia Records balks. Licensing folk hits to a studio picture feels reckless. Nichols pushes, Columbia caves, and a new frontier of needle-drop storytelling is born. Not orchestrated scoring, but chart-topping rebellion. The film's album rockets to #1, and studios suddenly chase pop artists for credibility. Fact 5. Mrs. Robinson looks decades older than Ben, yet Bancroft is only 35, just 6 years Hoffman's senior. Cinematographer Robert Surtees employs savage lighting tricks. High-angle key lights carve shadows, sepia gels age skin, and Bancroft's costumes favor funeral quiet blacks. Makeup artists dust silver into her hairline. Nichols instructs Bancroft to move like a predator, slow blinks, deliberate steps. Not a matronly cougar, but a bored suburban queen hunting fresh thrill. The illusion cements America's ultimate older woman archetype, and no one guesses the actress could have been Hoffman's college girlfriend. Fact 6. The Wedding Crash finale isn't a closed set. It's guerrilla filmmaking in a fully operating church. Production can't afford exclusive access, so Nichols negotiates a brutal compromise. Shoot between real services. Parishioners wander in, bewildered, as Hoffman pounds the glass screaming, "Elaine!" A furious priest yanks the plug on the house lights mid-take. Nichols orders generators fired up. plunging everyone into strobing half-darkness until power is restored. Stuntmen block outraged congregants, and Hoffman slashes his hand on the crucifix beam he's rattling. Not divine serenity, but holy bedlam. The final shot captures genuine panic as stunned worshippers appear in the background, faces never cleared, immortalized forever in a scene that feels improvised because, in many ways, it was. Fact 7. Ben's sleek Alfa Romeo Spider looks effortless on screen, yet the Italian import nearly derails production. Alfa sends only one prototype to Los Angeles. No duplicates, no spare parts. Daily desert driving overheats the engine till it coughs smoke. A frantic mechanic fabricates gaskets from cafeteria tray plastic, praying the fix holds nickels, instructs Hoffman to coast downhill in neutral to save the clutch. Crew trucks secretly tow the car. Uphill between takes. When the windshield cracks under studio lights, a Beverly Hills dealer opens his showroom after midnight so prop masters can cannibalize a display model. It wasn't luxury cruising, it was mechanical triage that turned the Spider into a silent co-star of pure cinematic willpower. Fact 8. The Robinsons' lavish home interior is actually a maze of sets jammed inside Stage 15 at Paramount, but the exterior belongs to a retired silent film queen who forbids alterations. Production disguises the modern mailbox with period hardware every dawn, then strips it off each night so mail can be delivered. Her aging terrier keeps wandering onto set mid-shot, barking at boom mics. Surtees finally hides liver treats on lens hoods to lure the dog's gaze away from camera. In the finished film, a shadow flits across the foyer. Blink and you'll miss the terrier's uncredited cameo. Not studio control, but negotiated chaos between old Hollywood royalty and new Hollywood rebels. Fact 9. Ben's single gray suit tells its own collapsing youth story. Costume designer Pat Bardo buys 6 identical suits, then destroys them methodically. She soaks one in salt water, grinds another with pumice, drags a third across asphalt. As scenes progress, Hoffman's wardrobe darkens, wrinkles, and finally hangs like defeat. Nichols forbids dry cleaning. Sweat stains must accumulate authentically. Between takes, wardrobe keeps the Stage 4 suit in a sealed humid box to accelerate decay. It wasn't continuity. It was a visual time-lapse of existential rot stitched into worsted wool. Proof that sometimes the most savage makeup job is done with an iron and a spray bottle. Fact 10. Mrs. Robinson starts life as a half-finished riff called "Here's to You, Mrs. Roosevelt." Nichols hears Simon strumming it during a break and demands, "Who's Mrs. Robinson?" Garfunkel shrugs. She doesn't exist yet. Nichols barks, "She does now. Finish the song by Monday." The duo retreats to a hotel bathroom for acoustics, scrawls lyrics on yellow legal pads, and records a demo in a single caffeine-blitzed night. The frantic, echo-laden track lands on Nichols's desk 36 hours later and goes straight into the edit bay. Not a polished anthem, but a deadline miracle that tops the Billboard charts. And hey, go ahead and like and subscribe, because the next 10 revelations will make this one look tame. Fact 11. Berkeley refuses Nichols permission to film, fearing campus disruption, so the director pulls a fast one. He rents a floor at USC, plasters bulletin boards with fake Go Bears Ice Tea posters, and hires real college kids for $10 a day. Extras swarm between classes while a skeleton crew hides 35mm cameras inside instrument cases. Campus security catches sight of boom poles, radios in a shutdown, and a foot chase erupts across the quad. Second unit cameraman Chuck Washburn pivots, rolls, and keeps shooting, capturing the breathless rush that ends up in Ben's frantic walk and talk. Not sanctioned academia, but guerrilla cinema in borrowed corridors. The tension you feel on screen isn't staged discomfort. It's real guards closing in on a film set that legally shouldn't be there. Fact 12. The first seduction take collapses in hysterics when Hoffman, trembling, accidentally headbutts Bancroft's shoulder. Nichols calls a halt and whispers, She's the shark, you're the bait, act like it. Legendary cinematographer Robert Surtees rigs a black velvet tunnel so Bancroft's leg can dominate the frame while Hoffman fumbles in shadow. Hoffman keeps apologizing until Bancroft leans in and murmurs, "Just hit your marks, baby." Nichols seizes the line, orders her to repeat it on camera. The directive morphs into Mrs. Robinson's silky growl, locking the power dynamic. It wasn't choreographed intimacy. It was two actors wrestling in security until Nichols distilled pure electricity. Every flinch you see is authentic, awkwardness weaponized into cinematic seduction. Fact 13. In post-production, editor Sam Osteen and Nichols battle over the final bus shot. Nichols wants a freeze-frame smile. Osteen insists on letting the reel roll. They screen both versions for a test audience in Westwood. The frozen grin draws cheers. The rolling take drops the room into dead silence. That's our ending, Nichols decides. Studio suits howl. Audiences want closure, Nichols fires back. Life doesn't give you ellipses cues. They compromise on a single dissolve into uncertainty. Not triumphant escape, but existential freefall. Hoffman and Catherine Ross hold their nervous smiles for 47 seconds as realization creeps in, an eternity stitched together from multiple takes, razor-spliced on a moviola until the tension feels like a clock winding down to zero. Fact 14. Even before the MPAA's new rating system launches, the graduate tangles with censors over suggestive content. The production code office demands Ellis Island-wide cuts, no lingerie close-ups, no bedroom door slam. Nichols pretends to comply, sending a decoy reel with harmless trims. Meanwhile, optical printer wizard Linwood Dunn sneak mats pantry shelves and lampshades over forbidden flashes of skin, frame by frame. When the picture premieres, watchdogs realize they've been played. Too late. The film sails past moral guardians, grossing $100 million and signaling the code's death rattle. Not timid compromise, but sly rebellion that pries Hollywood's gates wide open for the ratings revolution barreling in just months later. Fact 15. To capture the suffocating ennui of Ben's post-college limbo, Nichols weaponizes climate. He orders the air conditioning killed on stage 15 and floods the set with 10 kilowatt lamps that push temperatures past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Crew members mop sweat from Hoffman's face between takes, but Nichols waves them off when close-ups roll, wants pores glistening, collar sticking. Bancroft jokes she's auditioning for a Finnish sauna commercial. A grip faints. Another crewman's shoes melt against a floor vent. The oppressive heat isn't cinematic illusion, it's atmospheric pressure cooking the actor's anxiety into every sluggish movement. Not lazy summer vibes, but a literal swamp of discomfort that seeps through the screen and wraps the audience in clammy disquiet. Fact 16. It looks like Nichols simply parks a 1963 bus on Melrose and lets the camera roll. Reality is trickier. Film permits don't cover moving vehicles, so production rigs a battered Greyhound to an unseen flatbed truck. Hoffman, Ross, and 30 extras sit stone still while the convoy creeps through weekday traffic at 10 miles an hour. Surtees hides Aeroflex bodies behind tinted windows, shooting through pre-cut portholes so bystanders won't notice the lenses. LAPD escorts bail halfway through when radios crackle with a real robbery call, leaving the crew stranded in rush hour. Nichols refuses to brake. The bus becomes an island adrift in honking chaos, and every puzzled pedestrian you glimpse is an unplanned cameo, staring at what they think is just another lost tourist coach, not a rolling soundstage. Fact 17. Mrs. Robinson's leopard print coat isn't a costume house rental. It's Bancroft's personal gamble. She buys it on Rodeo Drive for a brutal $4,000, nearly her entire salary advance, because studio buyers deem animal prints too loud. Nichols loves the audacity. It's not a coat, it's a warning label. Wardrobe fights back, arguing the pattern will moire on film. Surtees tests 35mm stock under searing arc lights. The spots ripple hypnotically. Rather than ditch it, he adjusts shutter angles and filters until the fur sits perfectly still. Not mere fabric, but cinematic territory marking Mrs. Robinson's dominance. The coat survives coffee spills, chlorine splashes, and one panicked grip who nearly shreds it on a C-stand knob. Proof that sometimes character isn't written. It's worn like armor. Fact 18. Ben's clandestine hotel rendezvous weren't shot on a sealed set. They unfolded in the still-operating Ambassador Hotel, complete with curious bellhops and real honeymooners checking in. Production rents 2 adjacent floors but can't close hallways to guests. A red button light outside the elevator signals rolling. Late-night revelers ignore it, stumbling into takes. Nichols turns setbacks into authenticity. Every muffled laugh, distant clink of room service china, and echoing footstep is live sound, captured by hidden boom mics dangling from chandeliers. At 3 a.m., a fire alarm forces an evacuation. Hoffman and Bancroft exit with everyone else, wrapped in bathrobes and still wired for sound. Those sheepish grins you see as they sneak back to their suite? Not acting. Just 2 stars trying to finish a scene before sunrise breakfast rush. Fact 19. Nichols obsesses over glass as metaphor, barriers, reflection, distortion. He orders entire walls of the Robinson Conservatory rebuilt with polished plexiglass so thick it warps heat signatures. Surtees experiments by shooting through aquarium panels filled with mineral oil, creating dreamy aberrations without optical prints. During one setup, a 4K lamp melts the panel, dribbling hot oil onto the dolly track and sending the camera skidding sideways. Crew races to mop, but Nichols waves them off. Roll again. Ben's world is sliding. The resulting tracking shot tilts, wobbles, then steadies, mirroring Ben's mental lurch. Not tidy composition, but controlled chaos etched in refraction, proof that sometimes photographing a story means literally bending light until it behaves like emotion. Fact 20. Oscar campaigns usually play safe, but United Artists tries a double bluff. Fearing Hoffman and Bancroft will split votes in lead categories, the studio submits them both as Best Supporting. The Academy balks, voters revolt, insisting Hoffman's face dominates the poster. UA scrambles, reprints its slicks overnight, and launches a frantic telegraph push to branch members. Vote lead actor, lead actress after all. Confusion reigns. Ballots eventually crown Nichols Best Director, but Hoffman loses to Rod Steiger by a whisker many insiders blame on category chaos. Not smooth award strategy, but panicked damage control that changes nothing and everything, because The Graduate walks away without acting trophies, yet still rewires Hollywood's star-making machinery for the next decade. Bonus fact. Deep in Paramount's nitrate vaults sleeps an alternate ending Nichols shot in secret. In it, Mrs. Robinson collapses on the church steps as flames from a sabotaged electrical panel lick the pews, a visual echo of her smoldering life. Nichols orders negatives sealed with a metal tag labeled "Do Not Print, MN." Studio legend claims only 2 people ever screened it, editor Sam Osteen and a nervous legal counsel who declared it too incendiary, literally and figuratively. When the American Film Institute tried to locate the footage for a 40th anniversary restoration, archivists discovered the canister intact but empty. Film leader snipped, reels missing. Whether Nichols destroyed it or a midnight shift projectionist pocketed Hollywood's most explosive coda remains one of cinema's great unsolved mysteries. The Graduate didn't just capture alienated youth, it detonated the studio system's last illusions, proving that twitchy vulnerability could outdraw square-jawed certainty. Its sonic collage paved the road for modern mixtape soundtracks. Its fractured framing taught directors to weaponize awkward silence. And its final uncertain stare still dares every fresh graduate to question the future whispering plastics. If these revelations left you rewatching with new eyes, smash that like, punch subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the secrets hiding in your favorite films. Until next time, keep rolling, keep questioning, and remember, The real story is always just outside the frame.